Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sport Aces podcast. To the left of me is Anthony. We have Tom, and we have our very first shoe athlete guest, Jordan Green, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Nice to be here. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. You like our first guest, like outside of our program, you like our first official guest.
It's monumental, man. I'm glad to be the first one out of many. So I'm very appreciative of you guys having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it should be fun. Excited.
Definitely, man. So, first thing first, man. Tell us about this background in track, because I know, seeing like you're the track athlete here at Sacred Heart University, man. Where do you find that first love for the track?
It's actually crazy because, like, in high school, not even high school, like elementary school, I was always a basketball guy. Like, if you would have asked me what I was going to be, like, when I was, like, 8 or 9 years old, I always wanted to say either NBA or Division I basketball player. That was always my dream. Track didn't really come into the play until, like, basically senior year. I started sophomore year, and then my mom and my dad told me, like, look, do track because it'll help you with basketball. So I was doing basketball and track during the springtime. And then I was like, okay, I'm pretty good at this. I started off as a sprinter, and then junior year happened, and then I was really looking forward to it. And then, COVID happened, so it was like, it took away my track season. So it was like, all right, I'm probably going to forget about this. It just worry about getting through COVID and then eventually going back to basketball. But then my senior year happened, and then I was like, you know what, it's my senior year. Let me go out with a good fashion and do track. Then track happens. I start jumping, and then it's like I start getting good, and then I start getting into certain meets, and I was like, then states, I'm in states, I'm seeing all these great athletes performing. I was like, wait, I really like this. I really like this environment. Like, this is cool. Then Sacred Heart, I was always interested in going to Sacred Heart, not just off of sports, but just for journalism aspect. And then their track program was open. And I was like, you know what, why not? Like, let's do. I always wanted to be a Division I athlete, so it's like, why not? And it made sense because there was some schools I wanted to go for basketball, but they just didn't have the journalism part there. So I was like, you know what, why not? And then I came here, Sacred Heart, into the program with great coaches and great teammates. And now I'm in a great environment, man. My second year now, and continue to make strides with this. So I'm great to be here, man, for real.
Awesome, man. I wonder what was like the other school choices. Like, what was the other choices you had besides Sacred Heart?
So it's actually crazy. So it's actually, besides Sacred Heart, I was actually going to go down the road and go to Quinnipiac because. But what stopped me from going there was two things. Was first, they didn't have a men's track program. That was first. Didn't have any interest in there for basketball. And then their journalism, they had a program for in California that was like real. I was like basically the only reason why I wanted to go there because they had a program for sports journalists that they could go to California. And I was like, what? I want to go to this. Like, who doesn't want to go to this? But then I talked to some people who now work for ESPN, and it was like, listen, like, it's a great program, but listen, Sacred Heart, you're truly gonna get a great, meaningful experience is gonna pay off in the long run. So I was like, you know what, they're right. I can't just think in the short term. I gotta think for the long term. So I was like, you know what, Sacred Heart is definitely the best for me. Quinnipiac, Monmouth University in New Jersey was definitely early favorite just from the basketball standpoint. But for the most part, I knew for a long time that Sacred Heart was definitely going to be the spot for me.
So, like, I know you told me when we first met. I remember you told me the first thing that you see me wearing my undergrad college, and you was like, your mom went there, right?
Right.
Like, was that a choice in your mind, or like, how do you feel about, HBCUs? Like, do you feel like more D1 athletes should look into going to HBCU or even just going on a visit?
Right. No, HBCUs should definitely be at least in the mind of various student athletes and just students in general, especially for African Americans, just because like they don't really get the recognition that all these big schools usually get. But what the one thing that I understand about this part, what stops a lot of younger people from going to HBCUs is definitely the resource availability. Like for me, like again, I say journalism was definitely a big thing for me going into college. A place like Sacred Heart University with its connections with ESPN and these various networks, and it being near New York City and all these like the Martiri building itself, like you're not gonna see that. It's sad to say, and they're definitely improving, but it's not really present in the HBCU realm right now. Not to say it won't be, but just not right now. So with that being said, it's just tough, man. But I'm sure I'm sure you guys know with the Deion Sanders thing. That is definitely going to make a big move going forward for HBCUs. Even though he's at Colorado right now, the fact that he was able to bring HBCUs to the forefront of sports, but not even sports world, just in the world in general, to bring that type of attention, that was really big. So I hope to see that more people bring HBCUs to their choices of college in the future.
Definitely, man. Because, I graduated from a historically black college, and I know it was definitely different when I came in for open house, where I came on campus and it was like, wow, this campus is pretty nice. And then coming into this building, it's just I'm in the tour. I'm looking at studios. I'm looking at control rooms. I'm looking at stuff that they've been doing. And it's like, this is more than what I had when I was an undergrad. And it's like, it's just crazy because it's just like, but I know my HBCU now, they slowly building new, buildings. They trying to compete to like go up levels because they realize now, like, everything's about to be a different ball game now, especially you want to compete with these athletes. And like, how did you feel when, like, and this is just off topic, like, how do you feel, like, do you think Deion did Jackson State wrong to lead for Colorado, or do you feel like it was like he did what he did for Jackson State for the time, and then going to Colorado mean like he's just going for the money, or he's just going to be in the Power 5? Because there's not a lot of black coaches in the Power 5 level.
For sure. No, I definitely think that he did no wrong. Like, he actually got a lot of controversy for taking the Colorado job, and I actually think he did nothing wrong. Like, he said in numerous interviews, because I followed it a little bit, my journalist sense, and it was like he came there for a purpose, and he exceeded what he originally wanted to do. His goal was to bring attention to HBCUs. Not only did he bring attention, he brought nationwide attention. He brought, what did he do for Jackson State? He built new locker rooms for the football players. I think in the documentary they talked about creating a new field, because the original field was just all dirty and it was rusty, and that's not great for the players to run on. They can get injuries. He just created a whole new wave of what it means to be an HBCU student and an athlete, and it was happy for me to see, because like you said, like my mom went to an HBCU, and I remember when I was little, she used to bring me to the homecomings, and just like that whole, I'm sure like that whole experience was just, it was just so, like, it was just a different type of vibe.
It's such a different experience that I wish anybody could experience.
It's just like a community sense, people playing music, people eating food, watching a football game. Like, I just love the community vibe, and Deion Sanders, he brought light to that. And he influenced many other NFL players to coach HBCUs.
Eddie George at Tennessee State.
Exactly.
Ed Reed.
Ed Reed, well, formerly Ed Reed was at Bethune-Cookman, but then you have Hugh Jackson down at Grambling State.
Exactly. He's creating a whole new wave, and even though he went to Colorado, just people are looking at HBCUs that they wouldn't have looked at before. So like, he did his job, and you can't get mad at a man who's just trying to provide for his family. I mean, who wouldn't take $5 million a year? Like, who wouldn't do that? Like, especially when you bring in your whole family. Like, Deion Sanders is the type of person where he's bringing the whole family to the main front. His son is doing media work. One of his sons is the quarterback for the team. His other son's about to be a defensive back for the team. His daughter is going to be a basketball player for the women's basketball team. His sister works in the front office. Like, he's bringing his whole family to the Colorado Mayhem, and he did the same thing with Jackson State.
Yep.
So I mean, you can't get mad at a man who's trying to provide for his family. So just with those two things, I mean, I thought he did an amazing job at Jackson State. And I think he's going to do a great job at Colorado.
Definitely, man. Definitely, man. My last question would be, man, what was that transition like coming to Sacred Heart? Because I know, when you look around, the demographic is very different. I know for me, I went from, HBCU predominantly black to like now I'm at predominantly white institute, which, the demographic is different for me. So it was like the way I interacted, the way how people interact with each other, and then different problems that you see here.
Right. No, for sure. It was an easy transition for me just because like I'm originally from East Orange, New Jersey. It was kind of a rough neighborhood, but I grew up after that in Nutley, New Jersey, where the demographic is like Sacred Hearts. So I didn't have a problem with that. And plus, kind of in a professional sense, for me as a journalist, you're gonna work with many demographics especially in the sports industry.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
So
for
it's
sure.
like you might as well get used to it now before going to a professional world. Then you're stuck and now you don't know what to do. And then at that position, that's worse because now you're getting paid for it and nobody's gonna take you if you don't know what you're doing. So like I'm glad that I got to go through it in high school, and then before that, so then now in college, it's just another thing to me. And now I'm entering the professional sports world with the Brooklyn Nets and stuff like that. So it's like it's easy to me now, and I'm grateful that I was able to experience that at an early stage. So
Dope, man. But, man, we got to talk about this Super Bowl, man. 'Cause I think, I'm going to be honest, I don't know about you guys, man. It was a great time seeing, like, a good game, like a great game overall. And then just seeing, Mahomes winning his second one. Even though Jalen Hurts and them lost, it was just amazing to see Jalen Hurts still played on, like, a high note,
Yeah.
right.
no matter the outcome.
I'd say it's the best Super Bowl I've seen in my lifetime, just from a neutral standpoint. Like, he was back and forth the whole game, and it really just came down to who finished with the ball. Mahomes played great. I thought Jalen Hurts almost kind of outplayed him. I thought Jalen Hurts could have won MVP, but you're never going to get it when you lose. I just think it really came down to that one last second. Who was going to get the ball was going to win. I don't know what you thought about it.
No, I definitely agree. I personally like watching. I was watching the door with my friends, and it was clear. It was, at least to me, it was clear to me that Jalen Hurts was the best player on the field that day. Like just from not only playing a traditional role as a pocket passer and delivering his passes to Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, but what do you have, like 70 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Like when you're able to control the field on a passing attack and a rushing attack, there's no way for the defense to guard you. Plus, I don't know if you guys probably knew, like, bro, the offensive line for the Eagles is crazy. Like that QB sneak that they continuously ran throughout the whole game, it was automatic every time. Just because they were the positions that they were at, it was just so, like, for like a football nerd, I knew it was, like, for the football nerds, it was great to see because it was the way that they got in position to block for Hurts was textbook. So I thought Hurts was the best player on the field that day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm go back to that QB sneak play. I saw a stat while watching the game. It was like the Eagles were like 35 out of 39 on converting that whole
That's
season.
crazy.
Which, I mean, when you have a guy like Jalen Hurts, it's easy to get the first downs. But I don't take nothing away from that performance. It was fantastic. But I do want to mention how, like, the Eagles' defense, all year everyone was saying, yeah, like, one of the best units, but the Chiefs really kind of,
It was a lot of motion that was kind of like throwing them. It was like the motion routes where it was a motion in, motion back out, and then threw their coverages off. And, it was crazy because it was a lot of open plays where they ran the out route, and it was just like open.
Those two scores, one to Tony, he was motion on the right, and then they
Sky
quick
Moore.
snap
Moore.
open. Sky Moore was wide open.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, and just to let y'all know that Tom, we're not going to mention anything about FanDuel to Tom because Tom is soaking that Devontae Smith was like 2 yards away from scoring, and he could have won 550, ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
tough. That's tough.
It's all right. I mean,
It was okay. The FanDuel guys didn't let you
That's
be
Didn't
great.
want it.
it was a free bet. You know.
All right, did you get your Gronk free bet?
Yeah, I did.
I did, and I lost by like 2 legs.
I don't think I've used it yet.
I used it. I lost by 2 legs because they couldn't get 4 assists. Like, come on, Jordan Clarkson. Could gave me 2 assists. You could have.
Yeah.
No, you could give me 4 assists, but no, you didn't want to do that. Give me 3. That's crazy.
Clarkson's a scorer, man.
Yeah, I should have known better. I was being too greedy.
Nah, but yeah, it was tough to watch, especially when Devontae Smith had that catch, and I was like, if he's just a little bit closer, he would have scored.
Oh man, and then like overall, like they was like evenly matched overall. It
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
like
super
nothing
even.
was dominant. It was just a game of chess. It was just Andy Reid just know how to win and help them win. And to think that Mahomes won without Tyreek Hill.
Well, yeah. Another thing I want to back to the motion play real quick. I saw a clip of, I think it was like whenever the Eagles and Jags played, it was a clip of Jamal Agnew doing that same play. So funny thing is, Doug Peterson's the head coach of the Jaguars, and he designed the play that ultimately won the Chiefs Super Bowl. So think about that.
You know, I saw a clip. Andy Reid. They interviewed him about the play, and he said it's a play we call corn dog, and it worked every time. They didn't just run it.
Corn dog.
Such an Andy Reid.
That's an Andy Reid
name
type
for
Such
a
an
play.
Andy
yeah.
Reid.
And he said every time
Big
we ran
Andy,
it,
man.
we got a first down or a touchdown. And I did call my Sky Moore impact last week on the
You did,
pod.
you did.
Everyone called me crazy. He might have had one catch, but he scored.
Hey, I was the only one that said the Chiefs were gonna win, and I also said the Bucker was gonna win the game.
No, I
did,
definitely had the
so-
Chiefs winning too. Listen, from my time watching football, I learned one thing: you can never count out Patrick Mahomes, man.
Hell no, man.
It's like even though it's like kind of early, I think it's kind of clear that he's gonna be one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play, arguably the greatest.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just off talent wise, I personally think he's top 2, just personally. But listen, man, and I think one thing that allowed him to win the game was that pass game that he had against Tom Brady in the playoffs. Because I think when Tom Brady kind of controlled that fourth quarter, that kind of taught Patrick Mahomes like, listen, this is what you do to manage the game and not only put up stats but to win the game. And I think he kind of put that forefront in this year's Super Bowl, because if you look, even though that last minute play with James Bradbury, that was kind of tough. I thought it was a bad call, but if you see the way Patrick Mahomes like maneuvered the clock, I think that was textbook for a young quarterback to learn, because you cannot. It's not all about just knowing when to throw the ball or how to make a throw. It's all about managing the clock as well. So I think Patrick Mahomes put on the clinic with that.
I think it just takes time. I think, right now, a lot of young QBs, they just got to take the bumps and bruises early and just have to learn as time. I think Jalen Hurts is them and the Eagles probably going to make it back to another Super Bowl in the future. I believe they will.
Right.
It's just a lot of things change overnight. Like after the Super Bowl, offensive coordinator, now the Colts head coach, defensive coordinator is the Cardinals head coach.
Right.
So, hopefully, when they replace those 2 positions, I wonder who gonna get hired. Did Cliff get hired yet?
Cliff's just taking his
Imagine-
money and
imagine-
he's just going on vacation.
Imagine if Cliff go to the Eagles as an OC. Boy, oh boy.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
He's
I'm
a
like,
good offensive coordinator. I
yeah,
think,
he
so-
is. That's the crazy thing about it, man. And like, just to think about the Super Bowl, man, we have to make that transition to the NBA, man. Because last week, I think that whole week was interesting, man.
Yeah.
Didn't the record break last week too? Didn't LeBron James break that record too?
Yes.
He
Yes,
broke the
scored,
record last week.
Big
And
trades.
then the deadline. I don't know about y'all, but I had my laptop going.
Oh, yeah.
I had Roge and Shams alerts all on my Twitter feed. So I'm on Twitter on my laptop. I'm just looking at the feed, and it was just
Yeah.
crazy. The Kyrie trade, I'm going to be honest, we all knew, like, Kyrie was going to go. And we said how it was last podcast. That
Well, actually, I really didn't think he was gonna go. I think me and Anthony both thought he was going to stay until the end of the season.
Yeah.
Nah, but him going to the Mavs, I mean, that's a understandable decision.
For sure.
The surprising one was KD to the Suns.
Yeah.
In the wake of the night that we was all asleep, and then we woke up to the news. Like, imagine someone on the West Coast knowing about this news before us. It's crazy.
I mean, once Kyrie was gone, it was always a question like, is KD gonna stay without another star? I thought.
And you got Ben Simmons.
I thought yes.
I thought he would stay, to be honest.
That's crazy.
But the Suns, obviously now they're a favorite in the West, like probably
Indeed.
1 or 2 in the West, and the Nets, they got an okay return. Mikal Bridges is pretty good. Cam Johnson's pretty good. The Nets, it's really tough because they traded everything. They moved everything to get KD and Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're both gone, so they're in such a weird,
Joey got
such a weird space.
Joey got a lot to say. He's just frustrated with this deadline.
Like, I don't know what the Nets are right now. They don't seem to have an identity.
Oh, Joey, get it off, man.
So,
Get off
what
your
do you-
chest. I know you had a lot to say about
Are
this
you a
trade.
Nets fan?
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you feeling right now?
Well, first of all, Cam Thompson is a walking bucket. Let me just say that.
Listen, man.
Why is he not starting?
That is weird.
Oh, we'll have another New York fan rant.
Listen, man.
It's all right, man.
I'll have one later.
It hurts.
Mm.
It hurts, man. Listen. So, the Kyrie trade, that was, at first, I thought it was just a business move. I think it was a business move because usually when players demand trades, that's just screaming, pay me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a little
Indeed.
that's just a little secret business move that NBA players got around going to league. So when he left, I'm like, oh, he actually left. And then he went to the Mavs, and then I personally think him and Luka have the potential to be the best backcourt in the NBA, just because they're just special offensive talents, and the pure factor that Kyrie Irving is a great spot-up shooter, that I will allow Luka to not be worried about, oh my God, can he have the ball? Should I have the ball? Even though it didn't really play into last night because they had a little debacle
Oh,
to
yeah, I was
get
about to mention.
in
Yeah.
that last game, the
Yeah.
last seconds of the game. But so that happened. So at this point, I'm already like, my emotions going all over the place because now I have to write for this for the Nets now. So like now I have to like think about this. What is my boss thinking? Like, it was crazy. So now I'm just saying, I'm watching a movie. I'm trying to calm down. My phone goes off. Shams, Woj. Kevin Durant has been traded to the Phoenix Suns. I'm like, Josiah, why would you let this go on even further? So he gets traded to Phoenix Suns. Now I'm petrified because now the Nets have no chance of getting any. They could go to the playoffs now, but I thought early in the season, I thought they had a good chance of going to the finals. Me personally,
Right.
Aside from being a Nets fan, they were working really well together. But as we know, they were very unhappy. Now KD, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker are now a three-way tandem, and now it's looking bad. What I will say, though, for the Brooklyn Nets culture, it's not totally bad. We have a lot of length, and Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Nicholas Claxton. We have a lot of length and defensive potential. They put on a clinic these last few games, but we have too many, to put this in easy terms, we have too many players that are the same type of style.
Oh my God! I thought I was the only one that was thinking that.
Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Dorian Finney-Smith are the same player.
Like Royce O'Neal.
Royce
my
O'Neal,
God.
the same
That-
player.
6'6".
We have all these 3-and-D guys on one team.
The
It's
beauty,
crazy.
the beauty of having KD and Kyrie and that whole group of players is that you have two scorers. You have Nicholas Claxton, even though he was our only big man, he could fulfill the
Right.
defensive potential and hold down the middle. We have shooters in Joe Harris and Seth Curry. It was kind of pretty spread out. We have Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and Dorian Finney-Smith, Royce O'Neal, the same player. The only scores that we have really that could just get a bucket is Spencer Dinwiddie and Cam Thomas. But Jack Vaughn doesn't seem to want to play Cam Thomas the way he was doing with against the New York Knicks. Spencer Dinwiddie was a ball hog the last game, which was painful to watch. It's just what Joe Tsai and the Nets organization have to do. For this next year, they have to learn how to balance out the roster, and they have to also know what young guys to play and what young guys to not play. We saw against the New York Knicks, Day'Ron Sharpe was playing pretty good. Cam Thomas, he has been a big factor for the Nets the past couple games. He got 3 straight 40-point games.
Yeah.
He's a bucket. And then we have to know what we're gonna do with Joe Harris. Joe Harris, he went from scoring 6 threes to only getting a 1 shot this past game.
It's a rough contract.
It's a rebuilding is tough, man. I didn't think we would see it this soon, but it's gonna be a tough. It's gonna be a tough next couple months, man.
I think y'all bounce back. I think the Nets will bounce back, man. I think it's just right now, in the heat of things right now after the trade, it's like, man, the Suns really won this trade, and it's like, yeah, on paper it looks good, but let's just give it the next couple months after All-Star break.
We did good. I'm excited. Even though we're rebuilding, I am excited to see what this team does, because even though we have to work out some things, I do like this team for what it did turn out to be. So I'm excited to see what the future holds, man.
So, Anthony, run down the trades that we witnessed out here.
Okay, so we covered the 2 Brooklyn trades. I thought the Lakers did a great job acquiring, in my opinion, five
needed
good
that
players.
so much. They need that so much, because it was just annoying seeing, first of all, I'm gonna be honest. This is my hot take, and I'm gonna keep saying this, man. I really don't think the Lakers has a chance. I don't think the Lakers has a chance to, win the finals this year. It all depends on AD, because I feel like with AD, you would get depending if he's available in a sense. Because if AD's not available, you're not going to really get no real effort from the Lakers. I think adding 5 solid role players, especially getting D'Lo back to the Lakers, where now you have another scoring guard where, some nights he can come up big. Vanderbilt looked good the other night.
He's very solid, rebounding defensive guy.
You need that, especially when you trade Thomas Bryant too. So
you had Mo Bamba as a nice backup big.
Yeah.
Malik Beasley could get a bucket. We're not gonna cover the off the court Malik Beasley, Scottie Pippen Jr. stuff, but
oh man,
no, the Lakers.
Shout out to Lost Pippen, man.
The Lakers did a good job. Lakers did a good job.
It's a rough time for them. But the Lakers are. What people have to realize is, bro, it's a total transition when you're playing with LeBron James, man.
Oh man,
true.
When you're playing with LeBron James, you have to put all of your skills aside, and you have to learn how to play spot up, because LeBron is going to have the ball in his hands, man. So and I think that was the case for Russell Westbrook when he left. Russell Westbrook, as we know, he was always a ball dominant guard. But what hurt Russell Westbrook throughout his career was, we always knew he was one of the most athletic guards in the history to play the game. But as you continue to get older and you start to get more mature in NBA years, you have to be able to learn how to get a jump shot, man. Because you ain't going to dunk on nobody for forever.
Yep.
You're not going to speed past somebody coast to coast and get a layup, or go through a pick and roll and just dunk on 7-foot big men every time. When you get older, when you start getting to those 30 ranges, those 34, 35, 36s, you have to learn how to, okay, let me post him up, let me shoot over the smaller defender, or let me back out to the corner and let me get a free open 3. He didn't learn that. And when you're playing with LeBron James, you need to learn that. And that's what hurt Russell in the long run. I think that's why so many people were against him, because he just didn't play up to his potential. Even I felt bad for him, because I didn't really think he deserved all that mistreatment.
I don't think he deserves that at all, man.
No.
In my honest opinion, I just think people be slandering Westbrook like he was the problem, but I'm like, if you look at the history of every star player that come with LeBron or come to play with LeBron, they wasn't as good as they were. Like Kevin Love is a perfect example. before he came to LeBron, he was a
He was a man in
2020.
Minnesota.
Yeah, he was a 2020
man.
a game.
Well, also with Kevin Love, his role was completely
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That played a
like,
big
He
part, too.
he was a huge with the Cavs. Kevin Love. I don't know. I don't think he had any years where he put up over 10 boards a game.
No, it was because it was just
And
a
he was
transition.
a spot. He's a spot up shooter with LeBron. Like he said, you gotta learn how to be a spot up shooter.
It's
but
like,
Love, he did adjust well.
Yeah.
And that's why they were able to win.
yeah, and it's just like I knew Russ going to the Lakers was a bad decision. I think people at Lakers was like hyping it up. I'm not gonna hype it up
I felt the same way.
because I felt like Russ was somebody where when he left the Thunder and then he got traded to where he got traded to Houston. It was like Houston. It was like, I mean, I see it working, but it wasn't. And
Well-
then he went to the Wizards. I felt like the
That was-
Wizards was a perfect
that was
fit.
It was.
Wizards was a perfect fit for him because he could have
Low
been the
key.
man there. And then the Lakers, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a good fit on paper. Like he was
Yeah.
never gonna fit with LeBron, because to play with LeBron, as you said, you need to have a jump shot. Like
Yeah.
you need to be able to play off the ball and catch and shoot. Russ couldn't do that. I don't think he deserved the slander. I hope that maybe Utah buys him out and he can find a place where he can be the dominant ball handler.
Well, yeah. L.A. the Clippers.
That could be a solid
Yeah,
fit.
you know, pay buyouts because there's a couple teams, you know, contract buyouts. I know Danny Green signed to the Cavs.
That's a solid
So, you
fit.
know, that's definitely happened. I know Terrence Ross is getting brought out his contract. I think it's
He's going to Phoenix, right?
yeah, I
That's
think
a
it's,
solid
there's a couple
fit.
teams that's coming looking at them. Well, who else came with that? Bones Highland to
Bones
the Clippers.
Highland to the Clippers was weird because I thought he was a good, like, young backup, six-man type of guy on the Nuggets. I thought it was a great fit for him to run the second unit. He could trade for 2 seconds.
It was a lot of
that's not
second round. It
much.
was a lot of second round picks getting
That-
traded.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I want to know how they acquiring a lot of second round picks.
It's
But-
just futures, man.
What's more funnier is John Wall getting traded back to the
I
Rockets.
thought that was hilarious.
Didn't they buy him out?
They're going to.
They're going
but
to,
still
but it's
hilarious.
too
Oh,
funny.
it's hilarious.
Hey, it's my boy
Just a-
Valente out there.
Just a week after he blasts the Rockets.
That is
That
hilarious.
whole interview was hilarious because if you looked at the interview, you know, with certain athletes get on interviews, they'll hide some stuff. They'll be like, "Oh, I can't name this person," just because I feel like it's just a secret code in business.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you don't want to put things out in public. John Wall was like, yeah, him, yeah, I used to play with him. Yeah, he's the one that he was horrible. Like he was just pointing out people, like naming people, and I think in the interview, like I think you guys mentioned, he was like, yo, my time in Houston was terrible. Like, and you could tell you did not want to go there. And now he's back there.
It's even
So,
more
like,
funnier because
what-
now it's about to be awkward in the building. Like you just walking in,
For
just to
sure.
do a bio. It's just like it's about to be very awkward.
It's gonna be so awkward.
Then
man.
you know, Eric Gordon going to the Clippers.
Yeah, that was interesting. He gets to provide them some.
I like
shooting.
Pat Bev
I
to
like
the
that
Magics.
That
You know
was
they
funny, too.
waived him,
Ooh,
so he ain't playing for them. He's on the market.
that's crazy. Somebody need to
Someone
get.
will pick up some defense.
Yeah. We need Pat Bev, man. We need the black forces in the locker room, man.
We gotta talk about
Josh Hart to the Knicks.
my Knicks making a trade. I mean,
that was a good.
it was a good trade, but I said last week we needed volume scoring. I wanted a Zach LaVine type.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna happen.
It was never
man,
gonna
buddy.
happen because we're the Knicks.
Hey, they
Yeah,
said,
because y'all could trade, like I said last week, man. Y'all could trade R.J. Barrett, got some
Do
fucking.
you want me to do this again?
No, we're not gonna do it today. But we just know you could have got that happening. But you know,
I mean, Josh Hart had 27 last night, so
I mean,
we like
it's a good first start.
for now we like Josh Hart.
No,
We'll-
good start.
We'll see how it goes.
That 4-team deal was nuts. Like, first of all,
We gotta unpack that.
yo, the Trailblazers really hot in medical records now.
They were giving Gary Payton these shots and telling him like, you gotta play through it.
The medical scapegoat out here.
But that's-
We hide medical records now, NBA fans. That's the move.
crazy.
First it was fake vaccination cards. Now it's like fake medical records. It's crazy.
I mean, I'm not surprised, man. You gotta realize, like, when you talk about business and when people want, especially when these NBA owners, they're billionaires. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like when they want certain things out, and when they want to prevent certain things, it's gonna happen. And it's like we're seeing that with Gary Payton Jr. Like maybe there's something going on that's happening behind the scenes that they don't want Gary Payton Jr. in certain positions. But listen, I think all of this is purposeful, and I think there's something is like had to happen for all this to transpire with him going through all this stuff. So I don't know what's happening with it, but it's just weird. Like it's just really weird. Like
I think Golden State did accept the trade. I know the trade was up in the air for a little while, but they did put it through. So I'm sure the medical records, even though they did find something, they're still okay with it, or at least they still want the player.
Oh yeah, they want Gary Payton back, man. He was a big part of the reason why they won the championship last year.
Yeah.
Coming off the bench, playing some good defense.
Big pieces of that trade too. They sent James Wiseman away.
I felt like
Wiseman needed that.
I felt like that's a good pickup to have a backup center for the Pistons, because I feel like Wiseman really didn't fit their
He needs to be on a bad team where he can play through his struggles. Like he can't be on a contender where if he makes a mistake, he's gonna sit for two games.
Definitely. I know the Raptors getting Portal. I mean, that's good.
That's what they needed.
Yeah, they needed.
I like that. I like that move.
You see now Siakam. He was going through a little bit of a dry spell, and then he's been dropping 30 past couple of games. Now that Portal's in there getting the boards, it opens up the floor for Siakam and Van Vliet. That's what they needed.
I thought he was misplaced at center. They were playing.
He really was.
They were playing him at center. He's a little light for that.
And he's a volume scorer, man. He needs to have the ball in his hands because he can put up 30, 40 a night with ease.
And then the other part of that trade, Sadiq Bey going to Atlanta.
He's a good shit.
He's a good piece for 3-and-D wing. I thought originally he was going to the Warriors. I thought that was a fantastic fit, but Atlanta's still a good fit. He's a solid scorer. Villanova man.
Speaking of Atlanta, they've been disappointing.
Yeah, for sure.
I had high hopes for them, man.
So did I.
Do y'all think Trae Young might need to take his talents elsewhere?
No,
I don't think so.
Trae Young is one of the best passers in the league. He's average. I think he's leading the league in assists this year.
I think Murray's just trying to figure out his role. With the team.
That's the thing. It takes a little bit for them to get going because Murray in San Antonio was a triple-double guy. He had the ball in his hands all the time. Now that he has Trae Young with him, he's got to learn how they play together.
But I think that's also Trae Young's downfall. I think Trae Young needs to learn how to play without the ball.
That's also true.
People, ever since he came into the league, people were comparing him to Steph Curry.
Yep.
But the one thing that's undeniable about Steph Curry is his play without the ball.
Oh yeah.
The classic Golden State Warriors play is Steph Curry will come down, he'll pass it to Draymond, he's running around until he gets open for a three. Trae Young has the ball in the Atlanta offense 90% of the time. So if Trae Young wants to exceed his potential, he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but if he wants to go to that next level and bring success to the Hawks franchise, especially playing with a guard like Murray. When you want to exceed certain expectations, you need to expand your game. You need to learn how to play off the ball. Because Trae Young could definitely do it. He's a great shooter. So if he wants to win, he needs to get uncomfortable and learn how to play without the ball, so they could be able to win in the future.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Trae Young lives rent free in my head.
Off topic, I was just thinking about this since we're talking about the NBA. How do y'all feel about the Zion Williamson re-injuring himself again, man? Because I feel like, it's like when he's healthy, dangerous player on the court, but he just keep getting hurt.
Well,
It's inevitable.
That was the biggest problem with him coming into the league. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's too big to play, too big for his height."
It's just his knees, man. He's just jumping around all the time. He's the heaviest guy in the league, but he's only 6'6". His knees are just not gonna hold up. When he's on the court, he's unstoppable. Like no one can get in front of him.
Well, that's why he was an all-star starter.
Yeah.
Definitely, man.
I was telling people when he got drafted, I kept telling people I think this is where my sense came in. I was like, listen, John Morant is gonna be the player of this draft, man. Like,
No, I think everybody. Well, most people felt like Zion, but I felt like in that top 3 picks, I felt like John Morant had more of an upside because a lot of always feel like smaller school guys get overlooked because they talent they planning with. But I think he proved like in that rookie first year where it was like he's dominant. Second year he had a slow year, but it was still good. But it wasn't like making no noise.
I
Then third year was just like his coming
Yeah.
out.
But you gotta just look at their body types. Ja Morant is 6'3". He's a thin frame, but it's more lean. You know what I'm saying? With Zion Williamson, like he pointed out, Zion Williamson was 290 when he got
And
into
6'6".
at 6'6", and when you jump when you jump as high as he does, and when you're gifted as he is, you're just bringing more and more stress to your knees, and it's like that's just prone to injuries. So it's like if you want to last in the league, bro, you gotta cut that weight down, man. Like you gotta drop. I want to say 260 could be a good weight for him, just so he can be able to just run and jump as freely as he can without being worried to
I would say
injure himself.
250.
That's the problem. Can he maintain that weight?
Yeah.
That's
the problem.
That's the biggest thing. And I know you seen De'Aaron Fox. Who else got added to the All Star
It
list?
was De'Aaron, and then there was 2 other guys from the East. I want to say
Is it Siakam?
Siakam. Yes, Siakam
Siakam,
did get in there,
yeah.
and there was one more that I'm forgetting.
First
It
of
was
all,
another guard.
I still don't agree with fucking Paul George being the All Star. I don't agree with it.
You don't think so?
I don't think he was an All Star caliber player this year.
I still think Brunson should be in there.
Yeah, no, Brunson's had a
Brunson was
fantastic
giving
year.
the Nets problems last night.
He
He
had
dropped
40, man.
40 points.
Y'all see how Iggy was there? Y'all see how Iggy
And they
was
talked. She
there?
talked to him after the game.
Yeah.
But no, it comes back to what you said about De'Aaron Fox, how he was about to go crazy after not being selected an All-Star. Brunson went crazy.
Exactly. That's how it always is. The All Star snub games be like the best games. Cause you be
'Cause
seeing
he
them
got
dropping.
snubbed twice now.
Oh, and Anthony Edwards.
Oh, Edwards was the last one. Yeah, he was like, oh, I knew I wasn't gonna make it. All this jazz, and I'm like,
Well, I don't like the All Star voting, and it's just a popularity contest at this point.
Yeah, no.
Like they had weird people
well, with
on
the
All-Star
fans, yeah.
ballot. Yeah, it was just weird, man. And then I don't know, man, but I know they announced the 3-point contest contestants. Let's see. Well, I know the 76ers signed Matt McClung to
Interesting.
their roster, so
Interesting.
yeah, they just
He'll
signed
be in a
him.
dunk contest.
Definitely.
He was
The
on the
All-Star-
two-way.
Yeah, he was in the 2-way. They just signed them. The 3-point contest participants at All-Star Weekend from Shams, Boston, Jason Tatum, Sacramento, Kevin Herter, Miami, Tyler Hero, Indiana's Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield, Portland, Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons, and Utah's Lauri Markkanen.
So interesting. Some big names in there.
I think I got either Kevin or I think I'll go with Kevin.
I got Anthony Simons, man.
He's a bucket too.
He's such a bucket.
he's
I'm gonna go with Dame. I think Dame's got this.
I'm gonna low key go with Buddy Hield.
That was
He's
my
so
other choice.
efficient.
I'm gonna
That
go
was
with
my other
Buddy
choice.
Hield because like it's games where he actually would hit like a lot of threes. They may have
No,
shoot.
he's shooting,
underrated
he's
scorer.
shooting 42% from threes. this
Yeah.
Oh
year.
yeah,
He's a bucket.
He's
Yeah.
been underrated.
Yeah, I know. Shams. Hey, every time I get the alert from Shams, I know we about to get some good news.
Well, with
Yeah.
Buddy Hield, especially now that he has Tyrese Halliburton, who's one of the best passers in the league, it
Oh,
opens
yeah.
him up so
Yeah.
much to get open looks.
And then I think James Harden hitting free agency this year, man.
Really?
I think
Yeah.
his best fit is the comeback. Philly's
Yeah.
where he belongs. With Philly.
just had-
With
he just-
Embiid.
He just got a new agent too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Former Adidas executive Troy Payne.
Yeah.
So like that's gonna be interesting, man.
I feel like with Harden though, he's probably gonna like entertain the
Yeah.
other offers.
I think he's gonna stay with the Sixers. 'cause
He
I
should.
think-
It
He
makes
really
the most
should.
sense.
Him and Embiid gel perfectly.
Yeah, I think he found the fitting there because I mean, for most Rockets fans, they would love for him to come back. But I think the Rockets is already
Yeah,
on.
but him and Houston, they had their chance, man.
yeah.
Yeah. I think he deserves to be an All-Star too. He's putting up great numbers.
That's another guy I'm
That was
surprised
really
who
nice.
wasn't
He's
in the
putting up
All-Star
great
list.
numbers. I think him and Joel Embiid is a perfect duo, especially for their play styles and at their heights. I feel like they're a perfect tandem, and I think they could allow Philadelphia to go far. But I was always a fan of James Harden. I didn't think he deserved to be on the Nets, but I think he's a great player, and I think Philadelphia is the best. Is probably the best destination for him.
Speaking of Philly, they need to give Tyrese Maxey more playing time.
Yeah, they have him coming off the
Maxey's
bench.
a bucket too.
Yeah,
I
that's,
don't know
that's
why
nuts.
he's coming
Pure
off the
scorer,
bench.
man.
That's nuts, man.
He dropped 37 in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
But just know, man, a lot of teams are trying to tank for Wembley, man.
Yeah,
Wemby,
you
man.
saw the
He's-
Hornets. The Hornets are definitely trying.
I honestly think that Scoot Henderson is a arguably better prospect
You think so?
than Wembanyama.
It's
That's
just
a hot take.
because
It is a hot
of the
take.
That's a hot
injury
take.
risk, though.
Yes, some of that. Because when I look at Wembanyama, I see him the exact way I saw Porzingis.
Oh shit.
I would agree with that.
Oh shit.
To where this guy is
Oh,
so
shit.
he's so big and so talented, but he's so thin, almost like Chet Holmgren. Like he gets hit by these NBA centers. I don't think like he's not gonna be able to guard like an Embiid. Like they're gonna knock him down.
I think what puts Wemby in a class of his own, because I was looking at the draft class this morning. This is a great
These
draft.
are really
class.
good.
I
It really
like
Yeah,
this
it's
draft
really
class.
a great class.
But what separates Wemby, and I never seen this before, when you're that tall, you don't expect a player like that to be that fluid in his movements.
That's very true.
Wemby is 7'4", dribbling like a 6'3" guard. The only player that I could say that
Oh, Kevin Durant.
I want to say the only player that at the same type of level that I could see that play like Wemby is Bol Bol
Interesting.
in Orlando, and I think
see
Bol
it.
Bol is
Yeah, that's a common
severely
comparison.
underrated.
Yeah.
Bol Bol plays exactly like Wemby, and people say he should be a cheat code, but he never really got the playing time that he deserved. And Wemby's the same type of player, and he's what people were saying he's a better draft prospect than LeBron. So I feel like Bol Bol definitely is not getting not that he deserves. But when you're that tall and you're that fluid as Wemby is and Bol Bol is, that's just crazy. But you did bring up a good point though. I'm scared of him. I think you mentioned it as well. I'm scared because, like I said, he's tall.
Yeah.
He's
light.
skinny.
He's light.
So what's he going to do against Joel Embiid? Probably nothing, because Joel Embiid is going to put him into the basket, literally put him in the basket, and just not shoot over him. But he's going to be such a brute force that he's going to be able to go to the basket and dunk on him with like it's nothing, because Wemby's just so skinny.
Yeah.
So it's just we're gonna have to see. But I'm a big fan of Wemby. But Scoot Henderson.
I'm a very big
Scoot Henderson is a
fan.
problem too. Don't get me wrong. Out of Atlanta, he's a problem too.
It depends on who gets the pick. Because like if Charlotte gets the pick, they're taking Wemby.
I think anybody's taking Wemby yet.
Yeah,
I
think anybody's
really,
taking
really
Yeah.
like Scoot Henderson,
Yeah.
man.
I
I think
might-
he's different.
We might see a huge. I think a lot of teams are going to try to trade up for him,
Oh,
especially
definitely.
those mid-tier
Yeah.
teams around like
Oh,
10 to
they-
12.
Somebody's
where they're
definitely
not.
going to send a house full of trades.
Or
on
tanking.
I mean, there's some.
Well, the
teams already-
Rockets
I mean,
is like the main one.
Yeah.
Who
the
really,
Spurs, bro.
I'm
they have
gonna be
nothing.
honest.
The Spurs.
I
need
would
him.
love to see the Spurs get Wemby.
I would love to see Popovich coaching.
Yeah,
That's
because
what
I
I'm saying.
think Popovich has a great success with a lot of
Yeah.
international players. I
He
think
really does.
I think the Spurs would make that move or make a trade to get that number one pick.
Yeah, I think the Spurs is the best team. If you're a player looking to go to the draft, especially when you're like a late second rounder, the Spurs is like me personally, I feel like the Spurs is the best development center for an NBA
Oh,
player.
definitely.
We've seen countless players go through the Spurs system that people say they might not be good in NBA and turn them into premier players. One person I think of, I don't think he didn't go that far into the draft, but Keldon Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keldon Johnson, I don't think people expected him to be that special. But what happened? He went through the Spurs development center, and now he's a great scorer for the team. So DeJounte Murray is,
Yeah, I was about to
is
mention him.
another
Yep.
example too. DeJounte Murray went late in the draft, and now he's an all-star caliber player.
Even Porter, man. Even though he's just a big, but like him being a big, playing that system in San
He's got
Antonio,
some
it
good
really
moves.
is really showing like that development overall.
And that's why I
with them
think
talent.
Sohan's going to develop really well down there
Yeah.
too.
Definitely.
He's going to Draymond Green type of guy.
Yeah.
He can give
Definitely.
you like 10, 7, and 7 with a couple blocks and a steal. Like
Definitely.
he can definitely develop into that type of guy.
Well, before we end this podcast, man, we gotta give a shout out, man, to you see the hoodies, Long Time Worldwide, man. We gotta show love today, man. The first thing first, man. I really appreciate Jordan coming on this
Yep.
podcast with us, man.
Appreciate you guys, man. I'm like I said before, I'm glad to be the first athlete here. I feel like this is monumental. I feel like I'm hopefully paving the way for more shoe athletes to come on this podcast, because you guys are great, and I think it'll be a great platform for players to truly not explain themselves, but to kind of promote themselves and kind of show them a diverse way that you don't really just have to be on the field to make an impact. Like you could go on a nice podcast like this and be able to talk and have a good conversation with some good guys, man. So hopefully I paved their way, but I definitely enjoy being here, man.
Appreciate it, man. Go ahead, man. Tell the people, man, where to follow you, how they can like look up like your journalism, like portfolio, everything, man.
Right. So my Instagram is _I am Joy. You can follow me on that. You could catch my articles on Tap Into Nutley. That's where my New Jersey articles is. Another platform is NJ Hoop Recruit. Shout out to Justin. He brought me onto the platform not too long ago. Been promoting his site like crazy, and also catch my articles about the Brooklyn Nets on Nets Daily. Had a couple articles on there. Been able to put my name out there a little bit. In December, I had the chance of having my article being presented on national TV by Ryan Ruocco. So that was definitely a crazy experience.
Huge moment, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a crazy moment, man. So yeah, you guys can catch my articles on there. And like I said, I appreciate
And
you guys.
you still on the spectrum, ain't you?
Kinda.
Nah, a little bit.
I spent my freshman year and my beginning sophomore year on the Spectrum board. It was definitely a great experience with that. Shout out to Miss K back. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to all of them. Shout out to Brendan. Shout out to all of them, man. They definitely. Shout out to Rob. Big shout out to Rob. They definitely helped me to definitely understand not just journalism, but the business of journalism. Understand that this is a team effort. Like, it's just not about you. Like, you have to fulfill your role in being a part of a team. So they definitely helped me with that. So shout out to the Spectrum too, man. I've been fortunate with this journalism thing. So I'm really fortunate.
Man. Hopefully, man, you keep grinding, man. God see big success coming your way, man. Hopefully, man, I see your name in the headlines, man. Cause one of these days, man, we all gonna be in the nice little parties in the all white suits, man.
We about to go to Virginia State and shut the homecomings down, man. Hopefully in the future, man. So
Yeah. We'll talk off the podcast about that.
Sure.
But thank you for tuning in to episode 6.
Yes, sir.
Episode 6. Go ahead and subscribe.
And get the
follow
hoodies
us.
too, man. Get the hoodies too, man.
Shout
Get
out
the
to
merch,
Hometown.
man.
Got
Get
to.
the
You
merch.
got to, man. And to all the fans out there, happy Valentine's Day. Even if you're single, happy Valentine's Day.
Oh.
And we are out.